Yes.
Sir, siguro konting paliwanag muna sir kung ano exactly itong Articles of War 96 and 97?
Well, basically, the Article of War 96 is an article in violations of the committed by the officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. This is a conduct of unbecoming of an officer and a gentleman. And so these particular charges are being seen as being pre-charged to the following officers of the said seven personnel of the Philippine Army.
Hey, sir, this is different from the charges in the criminal court. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, Gretchen. No? Basically, the criminal charges being filed in court is a totally different charges in the military proceedings, particularly for the administrative cases or charges being filed against these two officers and the 5 enlisted personnel of the Philippine Army.
Sir, for those who are not familiar with the courts martial, I suppose people are asking, bakit conduct unbecoming of an officer na gentleman lamang? Gayong murder yung di umano'y naganap or what was supposed to have happened. Kumbaga, is this the gravest offense that the Army can file against one of its officers?
Well, basically, Sir Ed, no, let me just try to explain the difference between the general court-martial and the civil courts, wherein it's they're filed with the criminal charges. There are 2 points wherein we could identify the difference between the two courts, wherein in the general court-martial is more formal in nature, and it actually includes not just proving the elements of these particular actions of these officers, but more on the violations or breach on the discipline, and at the same time on the doctrines being violated by these charged officers. And this is not the only charges being served to the said officers. There's also the Article of War 97, or the general article, which is in violation of all these orders and neglects of the prejudice of good order and military discipline, and all conduct of a nature to bring discredit upon the military service. These are particular charges, 96 and 97, has on particular details on which they were served, and they have answered these particular in their affidavits or counter affidavits already. And again, another difference for the general court-martial and with the civil courts is that the civil courts will have to conduct its preliminary investigation prior to the filing of the formal charges into the courts. Well, in the general court-martial, we have to at least serve the particular charges or pre-charges to these individuals prior for the conduct of investigation. And right now, the Army Provost Marshal is already finishing up its particular investigation, the thorough and impartial investigation, which will now be reviewed by the Army Judge Advocate General for this, what we call pre-trial advice to the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, who is an appointing authority for its referral to the General Court-Martial. So nakikita natin may konting difference. Mauna muna ang pre-charging sa atin dito. And with the pre-trial review or advice, the Staff Judge Advocate General can add up more administrative charges that can be added to the said charges that was initially issued.
Sir, maaari po bang malaman yung exact basis for the violations of Article of War 96 and 97?
Well, Ma'am Gretchen, will not be that particularly privy, but this is more related to the said alleged murder case being charged in the criminal court. And all of these are within the breach, which also includes in the breach of discipline among the ranks in the Philippine Army.
If they are found guilty, what would happen next?
Well, again, this will be the General Court-Martial will be trying the said charges against these officers and enlisted personnel, and as the punishment, which may include this the dishonorable dismissal from the service and or particularly imprisonment, and the particular duration of the imprisonment would be determined by the General Court-Martial.
Sir, I think an important question is who takes custody of General Durante while everything is pending, both the criminal case against him filed by the PNP and the court-martial proceedings are ongoing. Which one takes custody of General Durante?
Well, in this particular case, if the General Court-Martial has already started its proceedings, definitely the Philippine Army would request and for the custody of these particular officers. And if that's still upon the approval of the civil courts, if our reasons or the justifications for the custody would be permitted by the civil courts. I think, and on the particular guilty charges, depending on both courts, the civil courts will be respected by the military on this matter.
You're saying, sir, the final decision on custody will fall on the civil courts?
Yes, sir, definitely, Sir Ed.
Sir, pahabo lang, sir. One last. As far as evidence or proof is concerned, ano po yung mas matimbang? Ano po yung mas mabigat o mas stricto yung paghihimay? Is it the court-martial or the civil courts? For example, the civil courts would look for proof beyond reasonable doubt. What about the court-martial?
Well, sir, as I mentioned earlier, I think the General Court Martial would be more stringent and would be formal on this matter, because we're not just looking on the elements of for the said particular murder charges, but basically from the violations of our military doctrines and policies, to include its breach on discipline, would already merit this particular case, and that would be aside from the particular elements that is needed. So mas stringent yung ating General Court Martial on this matter.
Yes, sir. Well, actually, sir, what I meant was, ano mas mahirap patunayan? O saan mas mahirap pagpatunayan ng guilt? Sa civil court po ba o dun sa jail court martial?
Both ways, sir, no? It's a separate court proceedings. So kung magkaroon po siya ng guilty charges dito sa GCM, he will be served with the punishment of dismissal, if that will be the determination of the General Court Martial. And even if they determine a possible imprisonment. Now, if ever the civil courts would found the said alleged officers to be guilty of this particular charges on the civil courts, I think the General Court Martial will have to be stopped for the moment of their particular serving of the imprisonment, and will have to be prioritized yung punishment given by the civil courts. And afterwards, they will have to be brought back to the military custody for serving the remaining punishments.